potential impacts on Florida. Of course, there is this belief out there on social media that there's this political tie between Texas law and Florida law, that sometimes one will follow the other, or Florida will follow Texas, or Texas will follow Florida. Where do things stand as far as abortion right now in the state of Florida?
So there is a bill that's been introduced ahead of next month's legislative session, which starts January 11th in Tallahassee, that would effectively mimic the Texas abortion law here in Florida. It's got some support on the right. I don't know if it has as much support as it needs to get over the finish line. I broke the story of the Senate President, Wilton Simpson, saying that they were working on something like this Texas law. It was eventually filed by a state representative, Webster Barnaby. It would put effectively the Texas law into place, but there is a difference, because state law in Florida, your right to have an abortion in Florida, is not just guaranteed by Roe versus Wade, which again was the federal ruling that found that there was a constitutional right for a woman to have an abortion. Within the state of Florida, there is also a constitutional right of privacy that is among our constitutional amendments, part of the Florida Constitution. And it has been used in previous state court rulings to justify a woman's right to have an abortion. So that's a further level of protection in the state of Florida that goes beyond Roe v. Wade and is considered by most legal experts to be a stronger form of protection for a woman's right to an abortion than Roe v. Wade is. So even if Roe v. Wade was struck down, that is still in Florida's Constitution and has been used as precedent before to secure women's right to an abortion. However, that's the concept called stare decisis, which basically means that courts, when ruling on cases, should take into effect previous court rulings in determining how to move forward on whether they find a law to be legal or not, or constitutional. That can be overturned by judges with different leanings than the previous judges. And the fact is, in the state of Florida, there was, I don't know if you, I mean, I think people on the right, certainly Governor Ron DeSantis, would say that the court was previously liberal leaning. That part, you could argue about. He has definitely said 100% certain, with 100% certainty, he was replacing those justices because there is an age limit in Florida on its Supreme Court, with conservative justices that he specifically said he chose because they were conservative. He nominated 5 out of the 7 justices on the Supreme Court. So now Florida's Supreme Court looks a lot different than it did when previous case rulings were made, invoking that constitutional right of privacy in Florida and securing a woman's right to an abortion. So future legal challenges in Florida may not come out the same way, because the highest court in the state is now much more conservative leaning, and that could change the way that they view that constitutional right of privacy. Then that's on legal rulings. Coming up in the session, obviously, they're going to be debating this bill that's like Texas's bill and determining whether or not to pass it into law. So we could have a law identical to Texas's, possibly. That's certainly on the table at this point.
And for those of you who haven't been following our previous political streams, I think it's fair to say that as this all unfolds over the next 12 months or so, it's a pretty big year politically here in the state of Florida. So